Um, hey everybody. I just wanted to share a little motivation with you all on some of the experiences that I've had in my life, and that just to let you know, don't ever let what someone thinks about you affect your motivation on the inside. Matter of fact, use it as something, even if it's negative, take it and turn it into something positive, to where it motivates you to do exactly what they said you couldn't do. Give you a little bit of background. I came from a very, very poor family. When I say poor, I ain't talking about barely getting by or, barely making ends meet. There's times we didn't get by. Me and my sisters, on numerous occasions, we had to go knock next door at my aunt's house and borrow toilet tissue, soap, dishwashing liquid, salt, pepper. Most things that people take for granted these days, it's in abundance, or you have a lot of it home. We didn't have it, and it's not that we just didn't buy any. We didn't have the money to buy any. You had a family of 6 living off of an income of about $780. Back then, it was me, my mom, my dad, my 3 sisters. I was the baby, and it was hard. My dad was disabled, so my mom stayed home with him and take care of him. And my dad often encouraged us to do better and go to college and better ourselves. And he always said, no matter what, you could take and do better in your life, go to college, and you can do anything you set your mind to. And I think I've tried to do that over and over, because I felt like I had something to prove. And I felt like I had something to prove to a particular somebody. Going back to when I was like 14 years old, I remember I held a position in my 3rd class period. It was an office position in the office at the school. I excelled in all my grades. I never had issues with my classes. Was always pushed forward and did the best I could with what I had to work with. Never gave any teachers any problems, always quiet. Mom and Dad raised me the right way. We didn't have a lot coming up. Didn't have fancy cars or clothes. We didn't have a lot of food, but we had love and we had each other. So that's what mattered, and we was always cleaned. And of course, there was times we didn't have water because our water would get cut off, or our light bill would get cut off. Our lights would get cut off because we didn't have the money to pay the light bill. There's been times my dad would go out and get help, assistance from different various sources, churches and community services, to help us keep our lights on. Or I've seen him go to food banks and bring food home in a box. Some of the stuff he'd bring was had expiration dates on it, but we still ate it. I remember one time my mom was cooking some rice, and on the can the label was taken off, but it had stewed beef written on it. And when she opened it up and started cooking, my dad said, "That's not stewed beef, that's dog food." It was dog food. No, we didn't eat it. We didn't eat it, but I remember it. And I know if Kim and Talisa's watching this, they're gonna say, yes, I remember that. It was dog food. It was in a can. It was Alpo, but somebody had turned it into the food bank as beef stew, and that's what we almost ate it. But my dad realized it was Alpo. But anyway, so going back to when I was at school, and I was 14 years old. I remember walking in the door, going into the front office, as always, put my book sack down and sat down at the desk. The lady that worked in the office, she was one of the secretaries. She was very hateful to me, very rude, snobbish, kind of turned her nose up when I walked in the door. I didn't expect anything else from her because that's just the way she always treated me. But I remember this particular day, things took a turn and a twist for the worst. I remember having a question about something that I was working on in the office, and as I was approaching the back hallway to go ask her for clarification on what it was I needed to do, I overheard her talking about me, and she told the other lady, the office personnel that was in there with her, she said, "I can't stand that child." And the other lady said, "Who?" And she said, "Athena." She's like, "Why?" She said, "Because she's poor. This is a loss of resources for her to be in this position. Her family has nothing. She comes from nothing. And this would be better suited if we had gave it to another child who came from someone who had something." Well, as a child, it crushed me so bad. And I remember going back up front and my heart was beating out of my chest, and I just wanted to grab my book stack up and I wanted to walk out. I don't think anybody should have ever heard that as a child. But I took it. And I took that along with what my dad said about I could be anything. As long as I applied it to myself and put my mind to it, that I could do whatever I wanted. And there's not a day that went by in my dad's voice. He's passed away now, but there's not a day that went by in everything I've been through in my life that I didn't hear my dad telling me that I could be anything I wanted to be, as long as I set my mind to it. That the easy road is always walking away. But if you stay fast with something, that you can achieve anything you want. And I did. I did it a lot as being a single parent for many years. And but that lady's voice, it hurt me so bad. And for years I took everything she said, and I felt less about myself for a long time, that I'm never going to be anything. I'm never going to amount to anything because the odds are stacked against me. I mean, I didn't even know anything about college until I was way in my 20s. I didn't know how to enroll in college. I never knew about financial aid. I didn't know about any of that. But I could always hear her say that I was nothing, I came from nothing, and I would always be nothing. Well, I made this video just for you, and I would call your name out and blast you, but there's no reason for that because I have nothing left to prove to you. I have nothing left to prove to you. I'm going to post all my achievements, and that's not all of them. That's just some of them. But I've achieved more than you could ever achieve. I'm a mom of 7. I'm a great mom. I have 2 beautiful grandkids. And I've done great with my kids. The oldest ones have all finished school, went to college. And I'm proud to say I'm their mom, and I did that. I have 3, 4 college degrees, working on a 5th one. I have a great job that I love. And I support my family. I have a wonderful husband that now supports me in my decisions that I make. And you failed. You failed when you said I would never be anything. But I want to thank you for saying what you said, because it motivated me. Even though it was negative, it motivated me to push beyond. I feel like I kept having to prove something to myself and to everyone else, and it's particularly you. And this is for you, honey. But if I could give you some advice for the future, don't ever say that to another child. Be a positive role model. You could have came to me and said, I know you have the odds stacked against you. Athena, I know that you came from a poor family. But you could have looked at me and said, I know you can do what you want to do. I know you can succeed in life if you do this. You could have reinforced that motivation in a different way than the way you did it. So I have nothing left to prove. I feel like I have achieved so much, and I will continue to achieve, but for me, for myself. But I don't have to prove anything to you or anyone else anymore. I am done, and I'm totally happy with my life. And I can say this, and I don't hesitate to say it, you couldn't walk a day in my shoes. You could never make it in anything that I've ever been in. You could never, ever achieve all that I've achieved. Never, because I know what you do and I know what your job is, and I can do your job, but you could never do mine. You could never do any of my jobs that I've ever had. You could never do them. You're not strong enough. So the next time you get ready to talk down to a child because you think you're better than them, because you think you have more money than them, that child may grow up to be someone who takes care of you one day. So you might want to think about that. All right, everybody, y'all have a good day, and I hope this motivates someone to, no matter what's going on in your life, even as a child, when you get grown, don't ever let anyone tell you you can't be something, or because you're past of where you come from, you can't achieve or be something and grow from, something negative. You can always, like I said, I was always dealt a bad hand. There's so much, I could just go on and make a book and write a book about everything I've been through in my life. Instead of me using the bad and say, hey, I just give up, I quit. You just push through the pain, lead into your discomfort, get up when you fall down and come up stronger than you were when you went down. And I promise you, at the end, there is a light. And at the end, you will be successful.